Okay, I'm going to go on to the next part of it. It says splicing out introns. Very biological question. It says here's a short section of genomic DNA. Now, this is a little longer than the other ones, but it says it's comprised of 2 exons and an intron. The first exon runs from the start of the sequence to the 63rd character, and the second exon runs from the 91st character to the end of the sequence. Write a program that will print just the coding regions of the DNA sequence. Can we solve this? For sure. We've done everything. So again, to make sure that I don't get confused about the positions of the characters. Now remember again, that little picture I showed at the start, there's a difference between the position, the indexing, and skipping. So to make sure, firstly, that I don't get confused with the positions, I'm going to create a test sequence. And the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the person who's giving me these instructions is talking programmer's language and not layman's terms 63rd character. Okay? So I've got, so I've asked myself then, this is my test sequence. If this question had said that the first exon ran from, if I'm replacing this, ran from the start of the sequence to the 4th character, what would that look like? Okay, that's what I'm asking when I'm doing the test. I need to make sure that I understand whether they mean the 4th character from a coder's view or from a non-coder or non-programmer's view. So here they mean up until, but not including the 4th character. So they're talking coder's view. So in other words, they want you to print the first 3 characters from a non-coder's view. Okay, so they're saying, when they say up until the 4th character, they mean the first 3 characters. So in other words, when they say the 63rd character, they mean that they want you to print, they don't want you to include the 63rd character. Okay, so they want you to print 63 characters, but because it starts at 0, it's not going to include it in the, when you're writing out the code. Okay, so I made a test sequence over here. That's again quite short, 12 nucleotides, I think. We've got the splicing that we've learned previously, how to splice out a substring from a string. So I created a test sequence, and I'm going to try and extract my first exon from that test sequence. So I want to know if I just want the first 3 characters, because that's what they want. They're saying that they want to up until, but not including the 4th character. So they want 3 characters. What do I need to add at the end? And I've discovered that I need to go till the 3rd character. So you would actually look at your actual sequence, and you would ask, okay, first 3 characters, so it's supposed to print up until there. And then obviously when you do your print, you will see that it's doing exactly that. Right? So test seq from nothing, which is usually, or you could have put 0 there, same thing, up until, but not including 3. So that will be 0, 1, and 2, 3 characters. So in the real problem, they want to print 63 characters, if I'm interpreting the way they're saying it. So since we started position 0, I know that I'm also going to use 62 in the real problem. Sorry, this should say 62 characters. So now they want the second exon. So if the second exon ran from the 9th character, again, I'm making this up, how will I splice that? So I would have to go back to my sequence, which is this one over here. And I would say, okay, so in my case, because it starts at 0, I'm going to write from the 8th character, right? So is that right? So it's printing from the C up until the last character. Okay, so now I know that in the real problem, they said from the second exon ran from the 91st character to the end of the sequence. And since here, if it says 9th, I need to use 8. So then that means if they said 91st, I need to use 90 in the real problem. So now I can finally write my code, and I can say the first exon runs from 0 to 62 because it says up into and excluding the 63rd character, which is actually, so they mean print 62 characters starting from 0, and in this case it won't include 62, so it will go from 0 to 61, which is 62 characters. And then I also know that my last one needs to start at 90, okay, to infinity, so I'm using those ones. Then they want you to print out the first and the second exon. So in other words, they wanted you to combine the two. So we've used concatenation, so you go combined exons is equal to first exon there plus second, you put it together and then you print that. And yeah, I just printed the length just to see how long it was.